Hello and welcome to the show. I am Joe Top Hat. Iago is one of the most fascinating Disney characters ever created. He starts off as Jafar's evil sidekick on Aladdin, one of Disney's best movies from the Renaissance, to being one of the good guys in Disney's first direct-to-video sequel, Return of Jafar. Even though I've always liked Return of Jafar, I can understand why a lot of people don't. The animation is cheap compared to the first movie, and Robin Williams isn't in it. However, I'm not here to talk about the movie itself. I'm here to talk about how they redeemed Iago. So without further ado, let's begin. Iago isn't a complicated character in the first movie. He's simply the bad guy's evil henchman, or bird. There's never any indication that there's some good in him. In fact, it was his idea that Jafar marry the princess, and then bump off both her and the Sultan after the wedding. Doesn't sound like a very nice bird, doesn't it? Throughout the movie, Iago helped Jafar carry out his evil plan. He was the one who took the lamp and gave her to the bad guy. Iago deserved to get trapped in the lamp with Jafar. Before going on, I want to make one thing clear. Characters don't need to be complex in order to be good. Iago was a simple character in the first Aladdin movie, but he served his purpose well. The story wasn't about him. It was about Aladdin. So he didn't need to be all that complicated. Iago just needed to be Jafar's evil henchman, or henchbird, and he played that part well. He is one of the most memorable characters in the movie, thanks in no small part to the performance of the late Gilbert Gottfried. If Iago was only meant to be an evil bird, why did they make him one of the good guys? Credit for Iago's redemption goes to Tad Stones, one of the producers of Return of Jafar. He found Iago fascinating, and he wanted to make Iago one of the good guys. On paper, this sounds like a bad idea. Yet Return of Jafar executes this very well. Even people who hate the movie love how they handled Iago's redemption. The reason why it was so good is because it never felt forced. In fact, he wasn't even trying to redeem himself, at least not at first. In the movie, Iago was somehow able to dig himself and the lamp out of the Cave of Wonders. Jafar demands that Iago release him from the lamp. Iago, who is sick of taking Jafar's crap, decides to drop the lamp down the well. With his newfound freedom, Iago finds himself missing palace life. Upon finding out that Aladdin is now living at the palace, Iago decides to trick him into helping him out. Problem is, Aladdin is not interested in helping the evil bird. Iago tries to convince Aladdin that he was under Jafar's spell. This doesn't work either. They are then ambushed by Abismal and his men. It was during this fight that Iago unintentionally saves Aladdin's life. The good news is, Iago now has Aladdin in his debt. The bad news is, Aladdin decides to repay this debt by making sure that the Sultan gives him a fair hearing. Honestly, I think this was the best thing Aladdin could have done for Iago under the circumstances. It's not like the Sultan was going to be okay with Iago being back at the palace after everything that happened in the first movie. Aladdin was trying to get the Sultan in a good mood while they were having dinner, then slowly bring up Iago. Unfortunately, Genie opens up some old wounds when it comes to both Jafar and Iago. Raja makes things even worse by causing a scene at dinner and spitting out Iago. Talk about a bad first impression. At first, Aladdin tries to use the snake staff defense that Iago tried to use on him earlier. Unfortunately, neither the Sultan nor Jasmine believed it any more than he did. This is where Aladdin does something that even surprised Iago. He took full responsibility for the bird. Up until this point, Iago hadn't changed his ways. He left Jafar because he got sick of him. Saving Aladdin's life was an accident that he used to his advantage. Aladdin had only promised Iago he'd make sure the Sultan gives him a fair hearing. Yet, Aladdin goes beyond his promise and takes full responsibility of Iago. Aladdin is taking a huge risk by doing this. Iago isn't some petty thief. He helped Jafar to overthrow the Sultan. In other words, he committed treason. The Sultan just recently offered Aladdin the position of Grand Vizier. He is also next in line to the throne of Agrabah. It's a little weird that Aladdin and Jasmine aren't already married, since the ending of the first movie implied they were. But I digress. Aladdin could lose everything by sticking with Iago. Even though the Sultan grants his request, he isn't too happy with Aladdin. Neither is Jasmine, after learning that he lied to her. It's because of this action that Iago starts to reform. With some help from the genie, Iago helps move things over with Jasmine. Okay, Iago never gets rid of his negative traits. He's still greedy, cowardly, dishonest, and grumpy. Yet he develops a conscience. Iago didn't want to help Jafar in his plan to take down Aladdin. In fact, he tries to tell Aladdin and Jasmine about it. The only reason why he doesn't is because Jafar was watching him. Iago actually felt guilty about betraying his new friends, something he never would have done in the first movie. He does help them out in the end. Iago is even the one who kills Jafar. What makes Iago killing Jafar interesting is that he had no reason to take part in the final battle. Yes, he betrayed his friends, but he also freed them. Iago tells the others that he doesn't want to fight in the final battle. Aladdin doesn't try to force Iago to fight, even going so far as to say that Iago had done enough. In other words, Aladdin doesn't feel that Iago owes him anything. Yet Iago shows up in the final battle, not because he has to, but because he wants to. I think it's a lot more interesting that way. It helps add to Iago's redemption. Iago would go on to be a regular character in the TV show. He would also show up in The King of Thieves. One of my favorite moments with Iago was when Aladdin decides to go back to the palace. Iago is concerned for him since Aladdin was caught freeing his father. Aladdin decides to live with whatever punishment the Sultan gives him. Iago wishes him luck before leaving. This scene shows how far Iago came from the first movie. Iago's redemption was even incorporated in Kingdom Hearts 2. You can debate the merits of Return of Jafar all you want, but there's no denying that it showed that Iago isn't so bad. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think, and don't forget to like and subscribe. See ya later.